It cleared out once the hearing actually began. But this morning, protesters and demonstrators filled the front steps of the building demanding a new election. A former world champ moves from the competitive side of boxing to the business side. President Donald Trump will be able to make it, and preparations are still underway. We're going to show you some of the behind-the-scenes ugliness. That's construction going on for the 10th. Now there's an app where you're just a swipe away from having your first date scheduled for you. As people come out and give their initial reactions, Dan McCready supporters say today's testimony and evidence proves that there was illegal activity going on.
Looks a little cold out there today.
Yeah, how's the heater up there, Sean? Other than checking your fluids and checking your tire's air pressure, Woody's Auto says the best thing you can do is listen to your car. This larger-than-life statue of Jerry Richardson outside Bank of America will stay put unchanged. That's from David Tepper himself. But he said the culture of silence that Richardson created is long gone. Just to give you an idea of how powerful compounding interest is, imagine wagering on a round of golf, but betting just 10 cents on the first hole, though doubling it at every hole. So that's 20 cents at the second hole, 40 cents at the third hole. By the time you've reached the 18th hole, you're betting more than $13,000. Long or congested here in the terminal, and it's the same way at the ticket kiosks, which is kind of strange considering how many flights are actually affected here at Charlotte Douglas. Everything in orange that you see on these departures is delayed. It hasn't felt like a funeral as much as a church service, which is appropriate because the Billy Graham Library wasn't built as a museum or a memorial. It was built as a ministry. The Legacy Union building nearly complete, or the Ally Bank Center under construction. That post didn't have to pay for. It's called organic engagement. Now, there are some estimates that say, wish you could look better in your selfies.
Plastic surgeons are seeing patients who want to look like their favorite Snapchat filter.
I'm Tim Spears, and we'll look at the way social media is changing the way we look at ourselves. The easiest thing people can do to protect themselves is having a more complicated password. The website howsecureismypassword.net actually tells you how long it would take for a brute force cyber attack to guess your password. You only have to look as far as a grocery list or a vending machine to feel the effects. Higher costs on imports will likely raise prices across industries from car sales to soda. So if you're hoping to be wooed with a little bit more than a cute selfie and maybe some cheesy pickup line, then what about an app where only the well-educated and well-employed are allowed? China has taken jobs from the U.S. manufacturing industry for decades.
It's been going on my entire career.
That's according to Roddy Dow Jr., who says now a Chinese business has even taken his company's name.
Our trademark is registered under their name in China.
Dowd is the CEO of Charlotte Pipe and Foundry, which discovered Chinese businesses using the company's name and logo on advertisements, business cards, and even at trade shows.
We'll be at trade shows, and this guy's passing out business cards with our trademark on there.
He says it's another example of Chinese companies playing by their own rules.
They're stealing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of intellectual property every year from U.S. companies. I mean, it's as prevalent as the sunshine.
There were more than 420 arrests for intellectual property violations by foreign companies during the year ending last June, according to the Office of the U.S. Intellectual Property Enforcement Coordinator.
We'll be paying several $100,000 in legal fees to a Chinese law firm to get our own property back.
At the same time, Charlotte Pipe and Foundry is dealing with Chinese companies illegally selling product below market value, or dumping. There's 26 active anti-dumping investigations involving Chinese companies, according to the ITC, which includes Charlotte Pipe and Foundry's complaint against companies selling cast iron soil pipe fittings up to 110% below market value.
We're not asking for an advantage. We're just saying, okay, play by the rules.
And Charlotte Pipe and Foundry says its limited options of recourse are likely not going to do much.
It's frustrating, and you can be frustrated, or you can fight like heck to make sure you stay in business.
Tim Spears, Spectrum News. Willie Thompson's walk home is a struggle.
Going up and down these stairs really tell on my back.
The 65-year-old lives on the second floor of a budget inn. A short trip made difficult by scoliosis.
Curve in my lower spine and in my neck, a little curve.
He doesn't have the money to move. Thompson says he and his wife live off $1,100 a month from Social Security. Rent is $950.
It's really not enough to try to feed us through the month, too.
And Thompson is worried his health may take a turn.
Kind of hard, right? Yeah, I know.
He's not considering bankruptcy.
I was never one fortunate enough to have a whole lot to go bankruptcy.
But according to a report from the Consumer Bankruptcy Project, the amount of people going into bankruptcy Thompson's age or older has tripled since 1991.
I'm seeing a larger number of senior citizens at least inquiring about bankruptcy.
Chris Layton is a bankruptcy attorney in Charlotte who says the amount of seniors actually filing for bankruptcy is probably much less than the amount of seniors needing help.
What I'm seeing is a lot of outstanding medical bills.
Life expectancy has ramped up dramatically.
Financial advisor Jim Hefner said longer life expectancies are creating larger health care costs for older generations while increasing risk to their savings.
Now longevity, we call it a risk multiplier because now the chances of market crashes or low growth in CDs or money markets today come to bear in a much bigger way.
All during a time when 1 in 3 Americans have no retirement savings, according to CNBC.
You can't worry about a bill when something's going on with your health.
Many struggling like Willie Thompson,
It's not easy.
with no safety net
But I'm not going to sit up here and worry my mind.
day by day.
Next month, I might not even be walking. That's how serious this is. But I'm going to try to keep moving.
In Charlotte, Tim Spears, Spectrum News.
See, it makes me look all pretty and beat.
S. Andrews likes the golden butterfly crown.
I don't have to have on any makeup. I can sit on my couch and put my filter on and pretend like I'm all pretty.
As long as it's at the right angle.
I like to make faces and bat my eyelashes and stuff and, you know, side to side.
She just wishes she didn't need the filter.
Sometimes when you're here and it goes out of the frame and you see what you really look like, you're like, oh, you know?
Patients will come in and say, well, Snapchat filter did this. Is there any way we could get close to this?
Dr. Theodore Niami is a plastic surgeon at Charlotte Plastic Surgery, seeing more patients wanting to look the way they do on social media.
And a lot of the Snapchat filters allow you to modify things like the width of your eyes, the size of your nose, the position of your lips, things that aren't actually achievable in real life.
The medical community calls it Snapchat dysmorphia.
When you morph your face on a computer program, and you start to believe that this image is a better representation of you than what you actually have, that in itself can be a troubling scenario.
And besides warping people's personal body image, the actual physics of the camera, getting extreme angles or extreme close-ups, maximize or minimize certain facial features, making a good photo a bad blueprint to get surgery.
And they'll only have a photo from the side. Well, that doesn't tell you what things look like from the front.
While it's changing the way people look at themselves, Dr. Niami wants it to change the way people look at social media.
I always tell every patient, there's only one version of you. No matter what somebody else looks like, you should be striving for the best version of you.
Tim Spears, Spectrum News.